as a company, we'll make sure we handsomely reward people that have that mindset. They will achieve their dreams in life. But for those that don't have that ambition to think like a founder or entrepreneur, you know, they're capping themselves.
That's how it is, isn't it?
That's how it is. This is John.
And this is Nick.
And this is How It Is.
So, Matthew, this is a bit more of a business segment. And I got some questions here, so I'm going to go through it. I'm going to be all professional, if you don't mind. So, this is going to be about the early stages of a business. What was the biggest mistake new entrepreneurs make when starting a business?
So, John, I would say three main mistakes that I've seen entrepreneurs make. One is, waiting too long to even start. So trying to, make sure that the thing is perfect. I think you just got to dive in. There's so many iterations on the journey. You can't avoid that. Two, I'd say your business partner, you need a co-founder. So I'm lucky I have an incredible co-founder, Letabo, who complements me, perfectly. So having a good co-founder is crucial. The lonely days and times, and you need someone that's there that complements.
And for mental health as well, I think, because me and Nick work very well together.
How do you guys work so well together?
I don't know. With myself and Nick, for instance, we're so different. It is unbelievable. I think everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But we think exactly the same. And it's kind of scary. Even on WhatsApp groups, we both message exactly the same time. His is a lot more elegantly put than mine.
But is that so I'm the same with Letabo, but is that a good thing? Because thinking the same is great, or is it?
I think it is good.
Yeah.
But what we always do very, very well is play devil's advocate.
Okay.
We look at it and we go, well, let's just play devil's advocate. What if? What if? And we always say, what if?
Yeah.
One thing that we always ask with the staff is, if something's not going right, tell us, because we don't know about it. And then why are we doing it this way? Because we always have. Oh my God, I hate that. Because no, change it. Did you have a business plan?
No.
It's the same here, and it's really strange because people go, oh my God, you must have had this vision. You've seen a gap in the market. And it's like, no, we didn't really see a gap in the market.
Everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face.
yeah.
In a startup, you get punched in the face every day.
Yeah,
so what's the point of having a plan?
And that's it. You don't know what's going to happen. It's the commission disclosures, all these things, vulnerable customers, consumer duty, all these things come along. And it's like, bosh, changes.
But what you guys wanting to reward dealers, us wanting to ensure consistency and care in customer relationships, like those fundamental principles, as long as you stay true to that, that's what you need to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
How do you validate an idea before investing too much time and money?
Easiest way is for that investment in money to come from a customer. If someone will pay for something, it's a great sign that it's solving their problem. We, from the early days, we did free pilots and free POCs, and we had very little clarity on what was actually pulling us, because everyone was saying, I'll do a free trial. As soon as we said, okay, you have to pay for it, quickly we started to see which segment actually has a problem.
Yeah. That's interesting. My next question here is, I don't think it's going to really, it's good for you. And it's, what mindset shifts are necessary when transitioning from an employee to an entrepreneur? Well, if you've only
only been a entrepreneur ever. But I can...
So what have you learned, being a CEO? For me personally, like for business, that you've got to wear so many hats, your HR, your accounts, your complaints, your sales, your everything, and I don't think I was ever prepared for that.
Yeah, I'll tell you a funny story, John. we were hiring for a new account manager to manage some of our clients, and my co-founder's like, okay, we have this new platform that can do skills assessments. Can everyone in the extended leadership team please do it and do the account manager course? And I was like, oh, whatever, I'll do it. I've built this business. I know everything. How hard could it be? John, the results came. I remember driving through Manchester and pulled up the results, and I scored like the bottom.
What are your thoughts on investment? Myself, me and Nick have turned down investment on a number of occasions, and that's only because I've worked with plenty of assholes, worked for plenty of assholes over the years. I don't want to be able to work for another, so buck stops with me. Yeah, and that's it.
So I think investment is depends on what business you're doing. If you're doing a business that you see that you can grow this thing extremely quickly, and the money that you get from your customers will pay back how much it costs to get them only in a few years' time, or then you do need some money for that to make up that shortfall. The only thing is just in our journey, we had the option of going to the VC route. Yeah. We've stuck with individual investors. So we have a core group of angel investors, Anton, Bonnie, Hans, Heather, Dr. Lulu, and Peter and Louis. And they've enabled us to be in control of the direction of the company. Yeah. The VC routes, you get very limited there. And we don't want that right now.
Yeah. Yeah. We could have built the compliance guys a lot faster, believe it or not. And we could have done a lot more with the tech, with investment. Yeah. Well, we really held off, and I don't know, like for right or wrong, I think I'm happy.
There's the amount of horror stories that you see, and taking time to find out what works. Yeah, you don't get that time if you take the VC money.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So what was the hardest moment in your business journey? How did you push through?
Hardest moment? Oh,
there's lots.
There's lots, right? I remember we had one advisor. Jeroen, if you're watching this, he was a brilliant advisor. Gave me one bit of advice, which hit me hard. He said, "You're not that charismatic," and I was like, at the time, I was like, you're right. It was a hard thing to take, but I reflected on it. I was, you're right. So I joined Toastmasters, learned how to public speak, learned all the technicalities of talking and how you can literally become a great speaker just by pausing and doing things, and that really helped.
I think you're doing a fantastic job on
Thank
this
you, John.
podcast, so don't worry about that. How do you handle setbacks and failures?
How do I handle setbacks and failures? Well, I grew up with a single mom. My mom passed away. I grew up with my mom, sister. Me and my mom always had a phrase. We used to say feel nothing. So that's been my approach to life. Whatever, there's every day, and there's a problem. Someone resigning, an unhappy customer, and the approach is always just feel nothing. Don't let it emotionally impact you. Yeah, I've probably become so unemotional in the company. I'm actually a very emotional person. Yeah. What's your take on that?
Well, I have a big say in you. I always say, don't let emotion get in the way of a business decision. And you can't, when people come and go, and you have to make very, very difficult decisions. As soon as you start letting emotion get in the way of it, that's when problems will happen.
The biggest thing can happen, and you just me and my co-founder at the time, but we just say, suck it. We just say,
literally have to.
Just take it.
I don't know what it's like for you, but on my Monday morning, when somebody taps in the door and they go, Can I have a word? And here we go. It's just, here we go, not again. And it's like, I've had it so many times.
Me and Letabo, we for a while we had a saying. We stopped saying it because it was a bit too manifesting negative. You would start the day and we would say, "Let's get fucked up."
He had that swear word, you can beep that out. So at what point do you think business owners should start thinking about scaling the company?
Scaling the company is when I think when you've looked at your graphs, and the graphs have gone up, and you know why they've gone up. So you've seen numbers of meetings booked gone up, and you know it's gone up because you hired 3 more appointment setters or something. You know, okay, it's working. You found out like something that works. Now you double down on it. But if you're not seeing improvements and repeatability in something, then don't scale if you have a seismic chart. So.
And how do you scale the business without losing quality or control?
Losing quality and control. So what we've done, Sean, I think you'll like this, what works really well is everyone has some metrics, KPIs. It was quite a hard project Letabo did to introduce, but the reason why everyone has metrics is because it's very hard to know whether you're improving if you don't have a number that you can subtract and see, okay, it's gone up or down. How do you know you're getting better at something? So everyone has some KPIs. At the end of every week, everyone fills in what the number was and what activities they did to improve that number or around that number. And then as a company, we sit every Monday and in silence, we read everyone's submissions for 20 minutes and then we leave comments and we discuss.
Interesting.
And we do that. No one can hide. People understand what everyone's doing. And most importantly, people feel clarity as to the activities they're doing and how to choose what to work on, because I've got 4 or 5 numbers that I need to improve.
But you are all about data, aren't you? Everything is data.
Numbers are very important at Voice, yeah.
Yeah, you know, we're getting better at it here, you know, gathering that data, you know, and for every little part of the company. And hopefully it'd be best when Voice is actually implemented into the sales office also. What are the key systems and processes a business should have before scaling?
I would say have that way of work, which we have as, you know, KPIs and so forth. Then, secondly, decision making is quite actually interested in how you guys approach this. How do you make decisions? So our journey initially was we didn't have policies in the start. There weren't policies on this. So we just said, okay, here are our values. Use them to decide what to do. But now it's come to the point where it's like, okay, do we make decisions by consensus? Does someone have more authority than others? Right? And what we've done then is we've said, okay, everyone is working in a unit, we call it a domain. We want there to be consensus. Everyone must agree to the thing. If there is no consensus, then it's down to the leader of that team to make the call. And we've had to figure out that. How do you guys do it with decision making?
Gosh, that is a really good question. Well, between me and Nick especially, you know,
or even broader team,
we like it comes from the top down to begin with, but then we do try and give a lot of ownership to the staff as well. I think it's all got to be around training as well. I think something that we haven't done very well in the past is train them very well. So we're really trying to get people to train them, so it gives them more empowerment, more knowledge. And with empowerment and knowledge comes better decision making. You know, a lot of the stuff with the FCA is black or white anyway. So, you know, we don't, there's no grey area there. Well, there is, but not with what we have to submit.
But all the applications, do you have a review of them? Go straight through?
They do go through a review, yes.
By you and Nick?
No, it wasn't through me.
Okay, so you have
Yeah, people that
Yeah.
those team leaders and managers, they will do that.
so you
Like,
can really work on the business.
yeah.
You
That's
managed to remove yourself.
That, well, not wholly, but a lot of it is yeah, we get those teams to do that.
Are you doing sales still?
Very rare. When me and Nick do, we it's like 100%. But we get hours all the time. I took a call. It was like 5:15, because it was outside of working hours or on a Saturday, and I ended up
What's working hours?
9 till 5, Monday to Friday.
John,
Yeah, but I work all the time. But yeah, and exactly, I answered the phone. You know what I mean? But I answered it, and the guy had, we can call it a hat trick. So there's three things that we could sell at that point,
Well done.
and I sold the 3.
because your sales guy didn't want to take the call.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's exactly it. But then I always say customers are like herpes; they're with you for life. So I got to give that deal then to one of the sales guys in there, leave them have it, because I haven't got time to, to really look after that customer. But I am constantly working, but working on the business and not in the business. That's the thing. But the way we've built the business is to work without us. And I think that's very, very important. Number one, you kind of got to build the business as if you're going to sell it.
Yeah.
And we're not out to sell it or something like that. And there's been plenty of rumors that there have been other companies in to try and buy us. We have had people sniffing around in the past. I'm not going to lie, but we've not even scratched the surface yet. What we can do with the compliance guys, and there's so much more around the corner, and that's the buzz I get.
Yeah.
is getting the new things, the new bits and pieces, the new ideas.
You must be the fastest growing compliance firm in the country.
Oh, without a shadow of a doubt.
doubt.
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. But that brings its own set of problems. And like I see stuff like I love to watch Dragon's Den.
Yeah.
And just laugh at them, basically. I have applied to go on there.
Really?
Not that I want any investment, but I just think it'd be an amazing way of advertising.
Yeah.
Right? But I shouldn't have said that. I should keep that out. But the compliance guys, they say about building a brand,
Yeah.
and I think we've built an amazing brand. But with that comes its own set of problems, because I truly believe that our brand is taken away from our identity. And what I mean about that is that when people, if I say to the layman, what do the compliance guys do? They'll probably go, I don't know.
What we recently did in terms of the branding is we realized, fundamentally, and so Irina, who heads our growth team, and Crystal, they worked with John Lay around fundamentally what is the value customers want, right? And it's how much money can I make or save and reduce risk. But you can't, every business says that, so it becomes cliche.
Yeah.
So you then have to tie in your actual product and how you do that. But you have to do it very cleverly, where they can say, okay, I can make an additional £80,000 a month, I can save £3,000 of time, I can reduce 11K on risk. How? And then the product, very clear. It's very challenging.
Yeah.
But I think we've done a good job. Look at our new website. We redid it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Our website's going to be changing massively. That's all I'm saying. I don't know how much I'm allowed to say, actually, but it's coming soon.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Is there anything you'd like to add, though? Any, big nugget of business advice? Anything that you think could really, really help those budding entrepreneurs out there? Or put you on the
I'd just
spot.
stress, yeah, I'd stress also the importance of family. You touched around your daughters, you named them on air. But my sister, Tammy, my mom, Pam, my uncle Gary, who gave me the opportunity to be an entrepreneur when he mentored me, they're so key, because like you have your co-founder, but then even her mom, Mabocha, very involved, like super involved. They're almost like non-executive directors.
Wow.
I
Wouldn't let my wife or family anywhere near my business. Nowhere near it.
know, but think about how. I mean, do you not talk about? Does she not hear stuff and she might say stuff and you act like you're not listening, but you are listening, and then you.
Well, my wife, whatever she says, if I say something about what's happening with the compliance guys, she normally says the complete opposite. I wouldn't pay them too much. I wouldn't do this. I wouldn't do that. Everybody be on minimum basic wage. If it was my wife was the CEO, they would have no holidays. They would have no time off at all. And I'm like, you can't run a business like that. You know, you just can't do it. So
But maybe if she didn't say that, you would be doing that.
I just try not to talk to her about it. That's one of the things is I try not to talk to my wife about work. All I hear all night long, as soon as she comes home she works in a school, she comes home and she just tells me from the moment I see her until I go to bed, something about school. I try not to talk about it because I know I'm bored by her talking about her work, so she would be bored about me talking about mine.
And then one thing, just wanted to ask you, like on the tech side, how have you thought about growing that area?
That's a really good question. We've thought about it quite a lot. Just getting adoption is the biggest problem. What the next, 6 months are going to be is pretty much getting more integrations with other companies, which is not as easy as it sounds. We can do most of the work our side. 80-20 rule. Again, we'll do 80% of the API work and all the things, and they only need to do the 20. But they just so many companies out there, which we show them this is how much value you will get to integrating with us. They just go, oh, but we're busy with other things all the time. So that's really frustrating for me.
You're very lucky to have found that first.
And then we've got a front end Flutter and app developer, and we have a back end developer as well.
We got just brief on our journey. We had the first team member joined us before we even started Voice. His name's John. He heads up our architecture. We call him. His nickname back then 8 years ago was Golden Boy because he worked at my friend's company and he was just a wizard. And so he's been with us since day one, built the whole platform end to end. Then my lecturer at university, he quit and joined us.
Oh, wow.
Well, he was already sort of transitioning out of the university, but he joined us. We would go to him for help.
That's crazy.
He's next. So his name's George, and then Cameron was in my class.
Oh, wow.
I was like, who's the brightest guy in the class?
Yeah.
Convinced him to join us. So we got very lucky with the early group of engineers.
Yeah, and developers, they talk in a different language to me. And, they started talking about, it could be SQL and Laravel and all this. And I'm like, look, I don't care. I don't know what you're talking about. I need to know 3 things. And they go, huh? I go, can you do it? And they go, yeah. How long is it going to take? About a month. Okay. How much is it going to cost me? Only a little bit more in service. Just do it then. That would be it.
Yeah. So Leanne, our product manager, often also sneak in some requests. But yeah.
It's going to make money.
Yeah.
Can it make money? Can it add more customers?
Yeah.
Can it add more value? It's about mainly getting more money and adding more customers, more subscribers. And, we've had people come in and they've wanted to have different integrations with different things. And it's like, it's a nice to have.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going to do it. It can wait.
Saying no, that's important. Yeah.
It is very, very important. And saying no to customers as well. And, I remember quite early on that we said yes to, it was an insurance company for an ongoing subscription. And what they wanted for like 150 quid was unbelievable. It was like fucking $2,000 a month work. And we'd said yes to it. And I had to ring them up and say, look, have your money back. We're not good. We can't do this, And he was like, really? I'm like, no, we don't want your business, So it's been quite a few things, yeah. So Matthew, thank you very much for coming. Thank you for flying all the way over here. I know you've got to make a nice long journey back to Cardiff and sitting in the departure lounge for about 4 hours probably. But you'll be on your laptop and working anyway, no doubt.
Sure.
So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, John.
And that's how it is.
That's how it is.